Um, those Chinese tariffs on Temu goods can't come soon enough. Yep, that's exactly what you think it is. It is a Chinese robot that just went after its handler, trying to, of course, take its life. All of this as we are involved in a very interesting trade war between the United States and China, and an artificial intelligence race that truly is heating up to some very interesting proportions, as clearly there's a lot at stake here, a lot of global geopolitical shifting, important conversations about the economy, rare earth minerals, Iran, Ukraine, you name it, as the corporate media right now is celebrating a major victory for China. We'll tell you exactly how this unfolds in this particular video and a lot more. Hopefully we have more time to talk about the situation in Ukraine, which also is devolving there pretty seriously, as well as the Iranian one that now a major congresswoman believes could spark up at any time here. But let's just focus here specifically on the trade war that's now unfolding between China and the United States, as Temu, essentially the Amazon of China, just announced that it will only ship items from the United States as the tariffs are now officially hitting right now. And it seems like the globalist New World Order is cheerleading their World Economic Forum puppets and globalists that are creating a situation that is ripe for China to take advantage of. As we have this article from the British Broadcasting Company saying Trump was the game changer. 3 things to know about the Australian election results, as the Liberal Prime Minister was able to decisively win a major victory over there in Australia land, as the Wall Street Journal has a very opinionated piece. Some people would say it's journalism. I don't think it is. I think it's just fluff. But they have their version of fluff here saying, first Canada, now Australia. The Trump factor boosts another world leader in an election. You guys are celebrating because, again, this is the liberal world order. This is a direct defiance against Donald Trump that, of course, is shaking up the old world order. And they're celebrating like, yes, the liberals are in charge here. The Democrats, the wokesters that have aided and abetted and supported China more than any other political party and ideology out there right now, specifically with domestic policies that shoot the countries that they are supposed to be governing in the foot, with regulations, with rules, with environmental protections, and the ability to, of course, not produce your own rare earth minerals, not produce your own type of energy, as many liberal nations all throughout the world are creating a situation that allows China to gobble up all the rare earth minerals. They're allowing them to mine them, to smelt them, to create them, to produce them, to manufacture them, because of these ridiculous leftist liberal rules that prevent anyone from competing with China. And that's essentially what's going on here. As you look at where a lot of the solar panels are made, they're not made in Canada, okay? They're being made in places like China. As we have another very biased article news here saying, good news from down under. Oh, yeah, the conservatives are losing again. And again, there's conservatives, but there's also individuals that have sold out their country for the kind of globalist world order that Donald Trump is directly going up against here. As we now have a lot of people coming out, like Trump's former top aide, Peter Navarro, who came out and said Britain is now a servant of communist China and soon will be sucked dry by Beijing. As specifically, he described the socioeconomic situations that are more favorable by liberals, as the Chinese love the Democrats, love the liberals, that essentially give them a lot here, that give them power, influence, and economic policies that they definitely reap the benefits out of. And I would say Peter Navarro isn't wrong here, as the United Kingdom has been at odds with Donald Trump, with this administration. And if you look at all of their policies, who's the direct kind of winner of them? Well, it's not the United States here, as, of course, the previous administration was literally sending down the State Department officials, along with the CIA, in order to help foreign governments elect leaderships that would be more favorable towards China and not the United States. They did specifically in Brazil here. And when we look at all of this, I think Alex Jones kind of breaks this down in a very accurate way, as he specifically talks about how Trump's rare earth mineral deals, how Trump's tariffs, how Trump's economic protectionist policies, how Trump is trying to create manufacturing here in the United States by getting rid of the rules and regulations, by getting rid of the Paris climate change initiatives and all these other initiatives that are holding back the manufacturing base of the world. While China gets to produce all the carbon that they want, we have to restrict ours for some strange reason, while they get away with unleashing huge amounts of it. As he says, that Donald Trump is definitely creating major game changes, especially with the largest viable deposits of rare earth minerals that he's going to be mining, not just in Ukraine, but also here in the United States here. And I think their analysis now is very important, as it's pretty clear here. We are now competing with China. And that's why President Trump has signed many historic executive orders, specifically to also protect things like copper production and mining that he is trying to start here in the United States. As, of course, copper is often called the new oil. It is at the heart of America's future, and I could not be more bullish about it, especially when it comes to it being coupled with gold and other rare earth minerals that now the United States is saying, you know what? China has a chokehold on it, like we saw, specifically with rare earth minerals now being denied by China to the United States here, to the American manufacturing company, as now the demand for copper is surging, and Donald Trump is acting on this demand here. As, of course, this is basic supply and demand economics. Global mine production is expected to peak in 2026 with a projected 700,000 ton deficit in 2025 alone. Underinvestment in new mines has created a supply crunch, as lots of people are getting bullish and inquisitive on this sector, as the United States-Chinese trade war has disrupted global copper supply chains, as China controls 50% of global smelting, as now they are facing their own export challenges and tariffs with the United States, as Trump is definitely acting in a very bullish way on copper, as he just previously announced this during one of his executive order signings.
Copper is a critical material, and the supply of copper is vital to our national security. In recent years, we've dealt with a significant issue of the dumping of foreign copper into the American market. That significantly impacted the domestic production and manufacture of copper and copper materials. This executive order charges your Secretary of Commerce with starting the process to potentially impose tariffs or other trade barriers to prevent this ongoing dumping of copper and to protect the American manufacture and production of copper.
And here's what Howard Lutnick had to say.
To build back our copper industry, I've requested my Secretary of Commerce and USTR to study copper imports and end unfair trade putting Americans out of work. Tariffs will help rebuild back our American copper industry and strengthen our national defense. American industries depend on copper, and they should be made in America. No exemptions, no exceptions. America first creates American jobs and protects our national security. It's time for copper to come home.
And that's why Giant Mining, ticker BFGFF, is today's sponsor of today's video, as it not only does its own and operate a copper, silver, gold project in Nevada, but it has also recorded its best ever drill intercepts in September of 2024. The company is the only copper company I am profiling to you. On February 14th, Executive Order 14213 was issued and implicitly prioritizes copper as a critical resource. Nevada, where Giant Mining copper project is situated, has constantly ranked ranked amongst the top mining jurisdictions in the world, which is why I am bringing this company to your attention. Giant Mining's balance sheet is now fully funded for its drilling program in 2025. Giant Mining is well-positioned to accelerate its exploration efforts and potentially capitalize on emerging copper market opportunities. This is great news, in my view. The share price is down by 50% since early February due to market turmoil, so I am highlighting this company to you today for a reason. Giant Mining, U.S BFGFF, owns the Mahubab Hill Copper Project, a fast-producing mine. In the past 4 years, management and the company's geologists have actually expanded the copper deposits, and this past September, Giant Mining hit their best ever drill hole. Historic underground mines at the Majuba Hill Project produced copper, tin, and silver from the early 1900s to the 1950s, including 2.8 million pounds of copper, 184,000 ounces of silver, 5,800 ounces of gold, 21 pounds of tin. All of these factors and the following ones below are the ones that led me to my significant bullish opinion about Giant Mining. The infrastructure is ready: access roads, power supply, transportation, water supply, or stockpiles, processing space, processing plants. Do your homework on Giant Mining, ticker BFGFF, as we appreciate them being a sponsor of this video, specifically since it kind of makes sense with all the news that's developing right now, specifically about this very issue, as it's something that, of course, we've been talking about here for a very long time here, as it definitely does look like this trade war is heating up, and it's definitely going to become a very interesting one, as Donald Trump is not laying down and not taking it easy here, as now we are finding out China is actually quietly exempting about a quarter of U.S. imports from tariff, as we had previously had a stalemate, as we had a U.S. Representative Jim Jordan just come out saying China blinks. President Trump is winning here. New York Times wrote another article saying, as China looks for a way out of U.S. trade deadlock, fentanyl could be key here, as vast majority of the fentanyl is produced in China. And then Donald Trump said, hey, can you guys stop? Can you guys crack down on this, since, you have a big brother track, trace, and database society that, surveils and spies on everyone. And so far, it looks like a lot of those efforts aren't being implemented. And some would say that there are deliberate efforts by China trying to create a sort of opium war reverse card on the United States to why fentanyl production is where it is right now. As again, yes, some consumer goods are suddenly spiking. Temu no longer is shipping items from China to the United States. It looks like Amazon will have no other choice but to display tariffs on prices, and good. I think that's a great policy. I want to see where my products are coming from. Right now on Amazon, you don't really know who manufactured it, who produced it. We do have, user ratings, which I think are great. But the more information we have here, I think the better. There was a big scuffle between Amazon and Donald Trump here when they were talking about doing this. But I think right now we have reached a point where I want to know what companies I'm supporting. I want to support American companies. And I think there should definitely be bigger initiatives by companies like Amazon to try to focus on building up American manufacturing, American production. And it's not going to be slave labor. It's going to be robotics. Hopefully not the same robots that you saw in the beginning of this video, but robotics, automation, AI, technological advancements are rapidly growing. China currently has all of the natural resources, not all of them, vast majority of the natural resources. Other countries are literally shooting themselves in the foot, figuratively shooting themselves in the foot, not allowing themselves to produce a lot of this stuff here, as the United States still is the #1 global hegemonic power, and it looks like Donald Trump is doing everything in his power to, of course, keep it that way, as we have a very interesting article here from Yahoo Finance that says the U.S. economy shows remarkable resilience in the face of trade turmoil. And, a lot of people like to look at the stock markets. The stock market is one factor to the economy here, but it's pretty clear here. We are on the precipice of something big, of something vast, of something major here, especially with all the technological advancements, especially with the United States kind of realizing during this trade war between the United States and China, hey, China holds some of those cards. we should make some of those cards here. And when it comes to domestic resource production, when it comes to smelting, when it comes to manufacturing, when it comes to production, this is something that the United States needs to have some kind of share in, because if China just dominates this, we're giving China our lunch here all the time, especially now since people aren't really needed in these types of factories. We're going to be facing major economic shifts here in the next few years here that will be very vast, very big, and will change life as we particularly know it. Now, Donald Trump is making a deal here. Hopefully, if we're able to avoid this insidious trap here, hopefully, if things calm down and kind of relax here, we could reassess. We could take a look at this situation, and hopefully it will not be a situation that will be the insidious trap that a lot of people keep warning about. Again, we have seen article after article, and this is all the way back since 2024, last year. There's a lot of tensions heating up right now with the United States, United Kingdom, Australia. Under Biden's leadership, they set up a defensive pact here against China here. Now, China also came out to Europe, to the UK, to the Australians and said, hey, let's make some deals. Now, those countries so far didn't play along, but their liberal, woke, democratic protection, environmental protectionist policies are helping them out, are helping them game the system, are helping them become a power that soon is going to be on the precipice of challenging American hegemony. And when we have that, we have the insidious trap here. Donald Trump's strategy here is to make sure that we outcompete, we beat out, that we continue to be the dominant force so China cannot keep up with us, because when they can, that's the larger possibility of a bigger conflict, of a bigger war that routinely always happens. And you look at the history books, it happened between Spain and Portugal. Spain and France, France and the United Kingdom and America. Now, it looks like we are facing a very similar situation that historically always kind of rhymes in a very weird way. It definitely does look like we are repeating a lot of the cycles out there. And there's a lot of things at play here, as China is also involved in the negotiations that are happening right now with Ukraine. They're also a big economic partner with Ukraine. They're also a huge economic partner with Iran right now, as a lot of people are arguing that China is the main thing standing in the way of helping Donald Trump achieve a deal here with Iran, because Donald Trump wants to set up a deal where the Iranians get to sell their oil, but the Iranians don't care because the Iranians are selling their oil right now to China. And the Iranians are like, China's buying all of our stuff. We don't need to give up anything because we're going to keep selling. That's what the Iranians are saying. Donald Trump is saying, no, we'll allow you to sell it to the other parts of the world. And Iran's like, why? China starts buying it. Previously, beforehand, that didn't happen. Now, Donald Trump did threaten sanctions against countries that are supporting Iran recently, and it'll be interesting to see what China does here in this particular moment. There's still a lot of crazy news also happening with Ukraine. Ukraine just officially rejected the Russian ceasefire 3-day deal, and then we have some very tough talk and rhetoric from the Russians, as of course it looks like that situation is devolving here as all the proposals, all the peace deals here are kind of collapsing here. It's going to be very tough for the United States to negotiate something with Iran, with China standing in the way. Will China back off of Iran here? Will there be other kind of concessions and deals being made here? As of course, we're looking upon a global chessboard that is ever so complicated, ever so sophisticated, and ever so going to get a lot more confusing. And I hopefully was able to, of course, make it a little bit more understandable for you. And if you think I did that job, share this video. It means a lot to us when you do. It's one of the few ways that these videos actually get out there to the general public. And also, most importantly, shouts out to Gold Mining, ticker BFGFF, for supporting and sponsoring this particular video. We always appreciate companies that are willing to work with independent media. And go check them out. The links to them will be, and their information will be down in the description below. Let's pray for peace. Let's pray for restitution. Let's pray for courage in the face of all this adversity that we are facing, as truly, I mean, people don't understand. Like, the situation in our world is a very wild one, and it's going to become that much more wild. All hands are on deck, and I don't know about you, but I'm at least happy that Donald Trump is at the helm of a lot of this and not Joe Biden, the guy who was literally trying to get Chinese sphere of influence leaders elected all around the world. Weird relationships that the liberals and Democrats have with China. A lot of business between China and Biden and his family members. It's very interesting. Very interesting how that unfolded. Stay tuned for more. I'm going to be doing a full deep dive video about AI potentially meeting everyone's end and the evolving situation in Ukraine in future videos. Subscribe, click the notification button, check out our sponsor. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/We Are Change.